Welcome back. With me live from Bismarck, North Dakota House Minority Leader Corey Mock. Corey, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Well, I got to start here. Your thoughts on what Alexis just had to say?
Well, I think Alexis nails it on the head that nutrition is no doubt an important part of our education system. That's why we have the free and reduced lunch program. It's been in existence for decades. It's been providing nutrition and warm lunches or hot lunches to the tens of thousands of students across North Dakota, especially for those who are at risk and don't have the resources to pay for the lunches themselves. So I think she brings up a great point that nutrition, especially at a young age, it couldn't be more vital to their academic success.
So, Corey, I know that we're talking here via cameras, but let's pretend that you and I are eye to eye. And I'm going to ask you something right now with your integrity. So I want you to look me in the eye, if you will, and say, Chris, we're spending $1.8 billion on K-12 education, and Josh is asking for $565,000. That's 0.03% of that budget. You're telling me there's not 0.03% of waste that we can utilize to make sure this gets funded and put it into the right place?
Chris, I want you to keep in mind that the money that we are spending in education statewide is going to fund all of the services. So you're talking teacher salaries for thousands of employees, the paraeducation services, the additional educational services for at-risk students. You have, and I want to point out that the money that we are sending to local school districts from Bismarck, the state dollars, it has been billed as an attempt to reduce property taxes. So we have a quality educational system that certainly is not inexpensive in the least. But I want to mention that the free and reduced lunch program does not receive any dollars from the state of North Dakota. That is, those dollars are provided by the federal government. If you provide a breakfast or a lunch, those students will have their meals either reimbursed completely or partially. But the disadvantage comes to those 5 through 8-year-olds who don't get that midday break. If you provide lunch or breakfast, the midday break is not covered by the federal government, and those are the students who walk through the lunch line with the rest of their class sometime during the middle of the day, and they are given a glass of water while the rest of their classmates are given a glass of juice or milk.
Corey, that's a great political answer. I'm going to ask you again, man to man, with your integrity. You're telling me that there's not 0.03% of waste in this budget that can be allocated for the $565,000 for this snack program, milk program.
Chris, I have to tell you, and this goes back, we are not funding the educational system at large. We are providing assistance to the school districts to provide the education they need. Those decisions are made by the school districts. We talk about it all session long.
But Corey, Representative O'Shea is asking for state money. But he's asking for state money.
He absolutely is, because when he was going around and visiting with residents in North Fargo, they said, did you realize that we have students that walk through that lunch line and they are turned away when they grab a carton of milk or a carton of juice because they don't qualify for the program, and they're being punished because their parents don't make enough to provide that. There are unique situations across the state, and there's been solutions that have been implemented. I know in Fargo-Moorhead you have the Got No Milk Fund, and that has provided some assistance to those students. But there are so many. There's 13,000 5 through 8-year-olds that go without. And what Representative O'Shea said is, let's take a unique perspective and let's invest in the youngest and most vulnerable North Dakota citizens to make sure that they have the nutrition they need to succeed.
So, Corey, I'm hearing you say that you're running a $1.8 billion budget with absolutely zero waste in it. I'm going to have you run my household budget as well, okay? I want to move on to something. You sent out a fundraising email after this happened saying this specifically: the Republicans have crossed a line of morality and we won't stand quietly. Let me ask you this. How is it morally superior to exploit kids and to send out a fundraising email to raise money for your state party?
Chris, we talk about thousands of issues throughout the legislative session, and the milk issue is just one of many. When we look at the welfare of North Dakota families, we need to make sure that we're putting their best interests first. When that bill came before the committee, it was killed because no parents were able to take the time away from work to travel to Bismarck and testify in support of it. A legislator had done his job representing his constituents, and we, without giving any hesitation whatsoever, had killed a bill that would have provided the nutrition for those 13,000 students. It was appalling. It was disappointing. And we thought it's best to make sure people are aware of this. There are political fundraising emails that go out by both political parties, both locally and nationally, on issues all the time. This is an issue that's certainly received a lot of attention. People have come out in droves, not only advocating for the state to do more, but also encouraging their school districts to take this issue head on, not only to ask the legislature, but to find unique ways that they can make sure that these kids receive the nutrition they need.
Corey, really appreciate your time. Look forward to having you back on the show, and stay with us. Love your feedback on this. Go to our website, 630pov.com. When we come back, we are going to get to your feedback and something interesting that happened 45 years ago today. Stay close. Much more.